Monstieur, a show where we discuss and redesign the most horrific icons of entertainment. This time, from the gaming world of Dungeons and Dragons. He's the guy with that googly eye, the Beholder. Let's see what we do. Enjoy.
Hello and welcome. um, well, today's episode, as you heard, is the Beholder. Joining me today are a host of awesome artists, a wealth, a host, a group. You guys. First, we have Matthias Usmund. He is a concept artist and illustrator at Adam Hawk. That's where he works. Awesome dude. We got right here Anika Sorensen, an illustrator and industrial design student. Welcome. We have Pixel Asylum. Alexandru Papa, he is an illustrator. He's awesome. Love him. Returning. How many times have you been on the show, Alex?
Uh, I think I might be the most times. I guess I started in December on December 30th. I
Nice.
think I might be the most times. I guess I started in December on December
Oh
30th.
shit. Okay, yeah, I'm getting echo. That's why. Okay, cool. I thought somebody was talking. That's due to the long, awkward pause. Sorry, guys. Um, all right. Next, we have Arthur Asa, aka
Hi.
Crom. He's an illustrator and comic book artist. His achievements include watching the entirety of the Fast and the Furious movies in one sitting, well done, and owning enough cats to populate a Catterday Instagram for an entire weekend. He's amazing.
But I'm not gonna do it because I'm not a sellout.
Yeah!
Another one was selling out.
Okay, and next.
Papa's gotta eat.
Oh, Papa's gotta eat? Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Alrighty. We got Randy Taroni. He don't take a da baloney. He's an illustrator and concept artist working from the homie. Snap, 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 snap. And last but not least, me. Oh God, do I really look like that? Sorry. Um, I'm your host for today, Amir Alam. I'm a concept artist and illustrator. I work at Hitbox, and I'm glad to see all of your beautiful faces today for the Beholder episode. Oh, whoa! You joined!
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Amir.
Whoa!
Sorry, I'm so late. I'm blowing everything today.
Oh, no
Chris.
problem. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I
Miracle.
thought you wouldn't show. Give me a second. There's connection issues. 1 second. Stream is lagging a bit.
Everything.
Wait,
Yeah, his arms were stuck in the air.
Yeah, give it a second. Okay. I think we're good. Hey, Will, can you please do me a favor? Sorry for all the technical issues, guys.
Yeah.
Internet's weird, but can you please introduce yourself for us?
Oh yeah, I'm William Hand, and sort of a freelance artist, and I focus on novel life form design creatures, pretty much almost exclusively, really.
Yeah, well, it's awesome to have an expert like you on the show. If you guys don't know, I always brag about this guy. Oh man.
Oh boy. Okay, well, don't build me up too much. This was a bit of a scramble, so I'm not.
No.
Enough said. But you guys,
I got my.
check.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thanks.
I got my tissues ready.
For when he cries.
Oh my God! Yeah, full stack.
All right. I won't build him up too much, but
Nice to meet you.
oh yeah. What's it called? Watch the Tremors episode if you really want to see how awesome Will is. But alrighty. Now for the episode. How did you guys find your beholder redesign? How did you guys like the designing process and all that?
Design process is kind of the funnest part. The actual doing the final thing is the work.
Yeah, yeah, I feel you. With mine, I was struggling because the beholder is such an iconic character or creature, right? Probably one of the most iconic creatures next to, I guess, the red dragon. um,
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's one of those characters you just can't mess up because it's just a circle with an eye, and it's like a squid with an eye and a mouth, really. But that's why it was so tricky too, because it has such a simple design, so you need to kind of reinvent it a little bit, or you can add to it if you want to.
yeah,
I think the Beholder is probably a design that it works better if you add to it. I agree with that. I think it's not, it doesn't really have a lot of room for you to change things because it starts being a Beholder, but you can add things to it that will make it different. Because one of the interesting characteristics of the Beholder that make them such an invitation to new designs is that Beholders are extremely xenophobic, and
true.
at the same time, they are genetically very diverse. Like there's Beholders evolve very quickly, so as soon as one reproduces, you can see some deviations in their physical makeup. The thing is, Beholders, every individual Beholder believes this is lore. This is D&D lore.
Yeah,
Every individual Beholder believes that they are the pinnacle of beholderhood, and every other beholder is seen as a cheap copy that is only fit to be destroyed or
wow.
exploited.
That sounds a lot like every artist ever.
Uh,
No, I'm kidding. Shout outs to all of
uh,
us. No, continue. Sorry.
I like the beholder because it offers that base. It's a really good marrying of lore and a monster idea and a concept that lends itself to a lot of variations and a lot of depth that you can add because of the beholder tendency to just be different. They're all individually different, and they all hate each other because of it, which is makes it all the more fun.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
well put, well put.
Nerd.
I think I guess the hardest thing for me during the design was like you said, like breaking out of the beholder mold because even though it's acceptable to have a lot of different types of beholders, it's so iconic in your head that you're just kind of like you don't wanna break the mold. There's such a there's a character. If you've ever played D&D, it's a character that you really really don't want to fuck with. At least I didn't. The Monster Manual was my arm candy throughout grade school and high school. Making all the girls jealous and whatnot. So I really really like the beholder.
I've only fought a beholder once, and the only reason we beat him is because we were an eight-man party. We were all relatively high level, and we got the jump on it. Uh,
How do
like
you
we
get a
beat it.
jump on a beholder?
It's very difficult. It's not easy, uh,
Roll for initiative.
but we managed to do it. If I recall correctly, we had to find a way to get around his anti-magic eye field for this whole scheme to work.
Yeah.
And this wasn't the 3.5 days, so we all had like pretty fucking overpowered builds, and we were still scaring. I say we got the jump on him, but we still got a couple of rounds, and at least three of our players got killed because one of the rays that it shot at us like from the get go was a disintegration ray. Uh, but yeah, that was a very memorable bet. High chance. What do you want?
Yeah, no, beholders are great. They make great villains. They're the stereotypical, egotistical, hoity-toity kind of pedantic villain that you just really would love to hate. And they're squirmy. They aside from their tentacles, they also manipulate people. It's not uncommon for beholders to go unnoticed, influencing
Oh
a
yeah.
king or whatever for
Yeah.
years. Yeah, no, they're really awesome villains. What are your favorite beholders in media? Well, talk to me.
I don't
Anybody?
think they're. I don't think they're very common.
I really didn't play D&D as a kid and never have. So I'm coming from it from a fresh perspective.
Okay.
But when I saw the Beholder, when I looked at it, the description and I saw it, I was like, oh, that's like the can't remember what they're called in Final Fantasy. I played the Final Fantasy games,
Mm.
and they always had these one-eyed creatures like this in the game. So it was like
Oh,
their take
the
on it.
Marlboro, I think it is.
Then they had the Morboro, which is the one that does all the poisons and stuff, but that's different than the floating eyes that fly around and stuff.
No.
So, but they all have a creature kind of like this.
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. I mean, you say they're not very common outside of D&D, Arthur, but I think when you think about it, they kind of are common.
The only one I can think of that is almost like just take for the name, almost explicitly a beholder, is the one from Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, it's like a beholder, but with two eyes.
Yeah, yeah, that one. That one was fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Try to steal this Wizards of the Code.
Let me open it up so everybody in the chat knows what's up. This is the guy. Yeah, he's really cool. He has an eye in his mouth. I mean, it's an eye with lips. He doesn't even have teeth. It's so cool.
So like every Nintendo boss fight ever.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah, my favorite beholder in media personally is the beholster from Enter the Gungeon. This guy is so dope.
That's good. That's good.
Wait, let me show you guys if you haven't seen it. Have the stream open, by the way, in your second window so you can see what's going on. Talk to the folks in chat. But here, this is the beholster. This guy's so dope. He has a rocket launcher. He has an Uzi. Like, instead of eyes on the end of his tentacles, he has guns.
Yeah.
Oh, the guns have eyes.
Yeah, one of them does. That's his beholder weapon. It's so cool. Great character, great fun. But since we are packed, without further ado, let's get into our designs. Let's just jump right in. Go ham. I think I'm gonna be a little bit more directed with this. I won't just like randomly choose people and make you all nervous. We're gonna be more chill about this today. Matthias.
All right.
I
Yeah.
wanna see your thing.
Yeah. It's great timing because I just set everything up to be presented. So let's see if I'm doing this correctly. All right.
I'm glad I got to you first, so you wouldn't cheat more. He literally got done with it right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So the screen, share your screen is in the bottom here. Yeah. All right.
Oh.
And there should be application window.
Mm-hmm. And Will, if you have.
All right. Here's some sketches for.
Dang, we're having a little bit of a technical issue, Matthias. Give me 1 second. This is a lot of technical.
Thinking.
Give me 1 second.
The design was super simple. Yep.
There is technical issues when I full screen this, so let me see if I can close some tabs, make sure everybody can hear you with all of your and see your beautiful art uninterrupted. Okay.
All right.
Okay. I think this is okay.
All right. Should I start?
Shoot. I'm having technical issues. Actually, can you send me? Can all of you send me your work on any channel, Facebook or Discord, and we'll talk about the beholder a little bit. Just because I can't full screen and talk at the same time, apparently. This is an issue that just happened today.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Oh man. Rough start. Big chat chat. This was supposed to be special.
Let's see.
So, does anybody have any D&D Beholder stories? Any cool ones other than the one Arthur shared? Nobody here plays D&D?
No,
You're the
I
Shadow
was
guy.
sorry. I was just going to say that although I was intrigued by Dungeons and Dragons when I was a kid, I realized after a very short time that the only thing that intrigued me was the monster manual and the other, the other pictures in the books, and I didn't care at all about learning all the tables and rolling the dice and all that, and so
Yeah. No,
I don't have any Beholder stories, except I thought it was kind of creepy for being such a simple, kind of comical looking creature.
Yeah. No, and their psychic powers are kind of creepy too. Were you interested in the lore?
I'm sure I read about it. I must admit I did not revisit it for this because I was so behind with everything. Yeah, that I feel bad about that. But no, I just remembered that they had a lot of magic abilities, right?
Yeah. They have psychic abilities. They're aberrations from a different dimension.
And so do they hypnotize people? What do they do there?
Yeah, they
Just
mind control. They can hypnotize.
okay.
They shoot
Okay.
lasers from their eyes.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. So I think at least I'm slightly on track for what I did, but yeah, no, I'm sorry. So I interrupted somebody.
Oh yeah, Jake, you had something to say about the
No,
Beholder.
I was more of a Shadowrun cyberpunk guy, so not a lot of Beholder stories.
I feel that.
I'm more laser guns than fucking with dragons and orcs.
Yeah, I feel you. Well, all right. I think I have enough art to get us started. I think. Oh no, Matthias, you didn't send me your stuff yet.
Oh, do I need to do that? All right,
Yes,
I'll do
yes.
that real quick.
I would like everybody to send me their work on any channel that they can.
Okay.
because,
All right, I'm gonna
need
shoot.
it.
I'm gonna shoot you the 3 pieces right now.
Can I send you on Discord?
Yes, Discord, all of it.
Okay.
Yeah, just because full screening is kind of rough right now. All right.
Okay, I'm gonna send you my 2 versions.
All right, perfect.
And the last one's coming up right now.
All right, I'm being sure not to sneak peek at anything. I'm only looking at Matthias's stuff, and oh my god, I wish you guys can see. You only have 3, right? I can show it.
Yeah. You can show the sketches first, and then I can look at. Can I look at your screen if you're sharing screens or
No,
anything?
I'll work my way down. I got you, homie.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Keep the live stream open so that you know what I'm looking at.
Oh, I keep the live stream. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
And that way you get to talk to the homies as well. Everybody in chat. I'm sorry, I've been a neglectful parent. Oh, the chat's been popping. Hello, James.
Yeah.
Oh,
Big Daddy's here.
All right.
Adrian.
All right.
All of them.
oh man. Oh, these are all Arthur's fans, aren't they?
Wait, what?
Oh no, I got some fans
Arthur, are these
too.
your fans? Oh, who's that?
Beholder.
Shit, I need to plug this on Twitter. See if I can get some new book people
I
in.
told you guys to do it, but anyway.
Theo.
I did it on Instagram.
Fair.
Oh, man.
I'll do it right now. Okay.
So, Matthias, please tell me about the beautiful stuff you have in front of us today.
Yeah, so what I was going to say was that I just spent the weekend just kind of figuring a little bit about the Beholder. I didn't want to, do some deep diving into research. I just looked at the design. I just kind of wanted to keep it simple. What I wanted to do was just to get a little introduction into what the Beholder were. As you guys said earlier, they're kind of magical creatures that are very, that have psychic kinetic powers or something like that. They can dream about things that will become into reality.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, I just thought these are kind of like, to me, it just really fits the Eldritch idea with like the squid-like feeling and very fleshy. And so I mainly played with those feelings that I had with a little bit of a twist of a little bit kind of weird, kind of cute, kind of gross, kind of quirky. So I just played around with that idea quite a bit. So all those shapes that you're seeing, those are like 2 to 7 minute sketches, nothing more, nothing less.
That's so
Just
fast.
playing. Yeah, I'm just playing around with it. So I
Which
just
one of these were 2? None of this looks like 2 minutes. Oh, except for one of them.
yeah.
Okay.
There's some like really rough ones, and there's a little bit more detail. But so I just kind of went through them all and just got a feeling for them. So if you go to the second sketch,
Yeah. Oh, well, first of all, before I move on, uh, which one are your guys' favorites? Look at all of this.
I don't the grabby hands. Look at him.
This guy, the grabby guy,
Far right, top right.
top right. Oh yeah, that's
it's
really
just
cute.
Wait, Amir, do you want me to send this to you through email?
Sure. Whatever you can do, I'll get it.
That bottom left one's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like that's gonna be like a huge laser, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So
I like, I like
the bottom left one and the one right above it is the same design because I really
Oh,
like the idea of having the eyes in the mouth. I
yeah,
just thought it was such a cool idea, and I really like the guy on the far right, bottom far right, where with the things coming out of the mouth instead,
yeah.
just making kind of weird like that.
Yeah, to
That's
me, the 2 bottom left ones are also my favorite. And now that I know that they're the same design, it's just better. Like,
oh yeah, yeah, totally. These are awesome, awesome work.
Where are you showing this?
I'm showing it on the live stream. You have to open up the stream and you can see all the beautiful work by everybody and everybody in the stream. I hope that you are liking what you're seeing. We're moving on to the second. Wow, the second picture. This is so cool.
All
Uh,
right, I'm just waiting for the stream to just load it up.
Ooh.
oh, these are nice.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So these are actually the ones I kind of started out with to actually get a feel for the beholder. These aren't really anything that I'm going forward with. These are just the kind of just the first sort of feeling I got when I thought about the beholder. So the top right is obviously the more stereotypical beholder. It's like that's kind of like what a beholder is like. The one on the left is a little bit more eldritch, kind of weird looking, but still got that beholder to it. It's different, but it's still you can kind of tell. And then on the bottom right, that's the one that's like out of this world, really eldritch, kind of pushing that beholder design to its limit before it kind of like, what is this? So that's kind of like the feeling I was going with. So I spent some more time just getting the mood for the beholder designs I was looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, that bottom right one is so crazy. Actually, I think that one's my favorite. That one's so cool.
Yeah, I think there's not much to be said here. I was doing these while I was listening to a guy talking about Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, was that the video I posted on Monstieur Mash, or did you find your own?
I found my own.
Oh, okay.
It could be the same video. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. No, that's cool though. That's cool. Let's see the next one. Let's see the next one. I'm like so excited to show these in color. Oh, do you have the character? Man. Okay. Here, check this out. Yo! It's like you went total Eldritch, and then you brought it into
Ooh.
like a little Zelda place too, or Shadow the Colossus.
Yeah, yeah. So I was just the kind of like the girl character was a little bit. That was more for fun, I think. The two others were more like, okay, we're doing the beholder thing, and then the girl was kind of like a beholder that sits on her head, and it's kind of like a symbiosis between the horror and her.
Yeah,
And I kind of thought of that. What all these characters are in the same universe.
yeah,
All of them have sort of this fleshy slash stony kind of slightly earthy Aztec vibe slightly, especially the girl because she has ornaments that is resembling that mostly.
Yeah.
So it could be a culture that is really involved into sacrificing and dreaming, and a more like a culture revolving around beholders.
Well, I knew that doing a anime girl redesign of a creature or a dark horror icon was gonna happen eventually, but I'm not going to actually go to your place and slap you because you actually did creature redesigns too. So so what about those?
Yeah. So I mean, those are essentially the ones. If you look at back at the old sketches,
Oh
they're
yeah.
actually resembling. If you go back to the old sketches, you see two of them. One from the, at least the one from the bottom right,
Yeah.
with the stuff coming out of the mouth. You see that one, and
Yeah.
then there was on the top, on the very top right, besides the handy guy.
Oh,
That's the
I
one
can
I
see
kind
it
of
now
picked.
and you made it longer.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's
So I just picked those, and I was mainly looking for shapes and mainly looking for things I could have play around and have fun with. I wasn't thinking too hard when I was making these. I just wanted to create something kind of kooky and weird.
mm. Well, you succeeded in making it look good and kooky and weird, and you gave us our our f- our first anime girl redesign, which is, I think, in my opinion, it's a milestone. It means
No, you
we're
can still
growing.
go slap him.
Okay, good, good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, really cool stuff. What did you struggle at all at any point in the process? Tell us a little bit about that.
Um, no, I don't think I really struggled as much, mainly because I was making so many sketches. I was just alleviating most of the pain.
Hmm.
If there was any struggles, it would just be because I couldn't come up with any better ideas with the time frame I had, because I just spent mostly of yesterday and the little bit of the talk we had when I started chatting with you after work. That's the
Yeah.
time I spent on these that you're showing right now.
Wow.
That's mainly about it. I mean, you know me, I like to render stuff, but in this case, I wanted to hold back. I didn't want to render stuff. I just wanted to create shapes, color, and a little bit of shading, and that's it. Keep it simple. Just create these character designs and keep it that way.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I really like the flat rendering, and it's not like you skimped out too much on the rendering aspect because there's some shadows, you got some form indication and some material indication. It looks great.
Yeah,
Looks
thank you.
great. What do you think your favorite part about this whole thing is?
My
About it all.
favorite part of the process or my favorite character?
I'll leave it up to you.
All right. Well, I'm actually gonna pick two of them. I think my favorite character, that's a bit of a tough one, but I'm kind of feeling the one on the left. I
Yeah.
think he's just weird. He's got tentacles coming out of his mouth. He just kind of looks like he's gonna eat you, or he's just gonna make you crazy. And he's got a bit of an attitude to him. The fun process I had was um, either it must have been the sketching, or it must have been picking up the sketch and cleaning it up and figuring out how I can add more details to it.
So like the second picture, that stage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of juice in here. All these shapes are so crazy. Really fun. Really fun. Oh, last but not least, before you go, what sound would your favorite character make? Well, what's the
What sound?
what's the sound? Yeah. That's perfect. No, definitely terrifying.
No, I think he sounds like Gilbert Gottfried,
You're
just yeah,
Godfrey.
just yelling.
Yeah, I, I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for your meddling kids and your dog.
Does
He's
the
just
anime girl version sound like that too?
yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
The anime girl version, her favorite bit at parties is just to tell the aristocrats joke in different variations. Each one is even more like offensive and scandalous.
I was gonna ask you to make a documakara of that, but now I'm not so sure.
definitely, definitely a mastermind in her own right. Well, thank you for sharing, Matthias. These are awesome. Just look at this. Look at this. And then in the final,
Beautiful.
we have these. If you want to get in touch with Matthias or just see more of his work, descriptions or his contact info and all that. It's all in the master list below, as well as all of the artists on the show and all of the artists who've ever been on the show. So be sure to take a look at that. On to the next one. Hello, your faces are really refreshing. Um, the next person will be, since I'm just clicking through, this is the next one I saw. Oh my god. Oh, that's metal as hell. Okay, okay. Let me open it up so you guys can see. This one is by our homie Rosumpurat Alexandru.
Ah,
I snuck it up on you.
wait. Not
What?
that.
Not that one?
Not that.
Not this one? This one isn't it?
What?
You sent it to me.
Yeah, but it was quite done. Well, just one second.
Oh my god, this is technical. Oh.
Oh,
I hate to
don't
say that.
check.
Technical difficulties, the stream. How are you, stream? While Alexandru is contributing generously
Done.
to the technical difficulties, I'll talk with you guys. Oh, you're done now? Okay.
All
Yeah.
right, these are Hatsus, and hey, man.
Today we're doing Yoshimitsu, is
Okay.
according to the stream header.
Wait, what? No. Okay. Anyway, here is the real one that he sent me, which is only slightly different than the last one, but okay. So,
What?
Alexandru, tell me about this design. Let me know what was going through your head. Whoa, you made the skull out of tentacles too, like the cheekbones.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Well, I just made this in the past hour.
Oh wow,
Cutting it close.
wow. Just 1 hour, just like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Explains grayscale.
because I didn't exactly. I just wanted to go like I usually do, except Yoshimitsu, out of the box with the idea of the beholder. So I kind of combined the idea of a Cthulhu mythos, the tentacles and the god of Cthulhu. And I was thinking, instead of the beholder, as in the creature itself, what about if the beholder name is split in two, as in P and the holder, and the holder is the creature that gives you, if it that it's some sort of a shell that gets your soul and does you exist. That's why it's the B, as in to be.
Ah, that's cool.
So
Very poetic.
yeah, so this what I made now is something like the first stage of being, as in the creature that it gets surrounded, the skull, and slowly it gives life.
Damn, that's really cool. That's really cool. If he had an eye, would it be like in the mouth? Like he'd open the mouth and it'd just be like.
Probably, I was thinking put an eye in the nose, but it would look weird, so I just leave it like that.
Cool. Cool stuff. Did you struggle at all during this? I mean, it was an hour and it doesn't look like you struggled at all. It looks like work that I would do in 5.
Look, I just started it, and when I was away today with some friends, and I was just rethinking what am I gonna do? Design creature, another monster, and just on my way home, driving at home, I was just, oh, I got it. And when we started, I got home just, I don't know, 15 minutes before we started talking. So that was when I started doing it. So here we go.
Cool. Well, it looks great. It looks great.
Yeah, thank you.
Just on crunch.
Yeah.
Well, you know what they say about great things happening. It's a good idea and not quite enough time. And you prove that you can make something beautiful in such a short time. What
It's a fresh take.
right?
Like, yeah.
Right. What do you like about it? What do you think is like super fresh about it, Arthur?
Well, I was saying how the beholder concept doesn't really have a lot of room for actual for changing the design, but I guess I wasn't thinking the idea that he found a way to play the design around is actually pretty cool, and I just like the concept of it. Like now that I see it and realized, I just like the concept. I imagine this creature might even hide its tentacles inside the skull, you know, like maybe to fool someone.
Yeah.
And it's just very creepy to look at, you know.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's kind of like it's a cephalopod that can change shape, and it
Yeah,
took the form of a skull with the tentacles coming out.
yeah.
Yeah. No, very cool. Very cool stuff. Um, Alexandru, what is your
Yeah.
what's your absolute favorite part about this piece, if you have one?
Uh, I think that I'm happy that I managed to finish it in 1 hour.
Well, I think we all are. I'd be really disappointed if you left us handed, high and dry.
Yeah, no. I don't want to do that. I don't want to disappoint you guys.
Yeah. Well, no, we all admire your hustle. But what about the piece itself? Anything stand out to you as like something you're like especially proud of? The rendering, or because I actually
Well,
really think the rendering is one of the better things you've shown us recently.
yeah, I don't know. I love the idea of tentacles and the creature itself, and pretty much there is not something for me special to stand out. I like doing skulls in some form or another, but I like to combine them with different organic stuff, and this was one of the times that I can do that. So yeah.
Cool, cool. Last question before we end it. But when are you gonna send us the picture of this with tattooed on your back? Because yeah, HD, he said that he wants to put a knife through it, and it's a biker tattoo, straight up. Look at it.
I could see that on the wall of a tattoo shop. Yeah.
Right. So are you getting into tattoos, Alex? Are you gonna get one on your back and show it with us?
Well, I have a full sleeved arm tattooed. Probably I'm gonna do it on my right arm.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, you heard it
Yeah.
here first, Monstieur. He's gonna get this tattoo and he's gonna share it with us. Look at this man.
Send it live on
Yep.
air. I know you have to do it.
No, awesome stuff as always, Alexandru. Above and
Thank
beyond,
you.
even though it's just an hour, still really, really good.
Thank you.
It's just render.
It's just render.
It's just random.
Oh yeah, Alicia, she also says it would be a really, really cool tattoo. So there you go.
Oh, nice.
Two recommendations for you to start your tattoo shop. On to the next one. Let's see. I'm just clicking through, and boom. Oh, wow. These are really cool. Okay. Okay, Jacob.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, that's you. Jacob,
I
guy
got
in the
explaining
middle.
to do.
Yeah. Yeah, these actually look really cool. I like these. Okay, I'm going to pull them up. Tell us a little bit about your design.
Actually, I was watching the last stream, and I'm like, man, I should get in on this. And then you say, next one's going to be Beholder. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do some quick sketches of this just because I want in on it. So I did, and then I sat down in Photoshop and just did some really loose, really crappy, just quick grayscale paint outs of how I want this to be. Which, with a lot of things, the first idea is usually the one you end up going with, but I did the others just to see how or where I could put the whole eye thing. Like, what I was going for is I started looking. With designs like this, you either start with someplace fantastic and bring it into reality, or you start with reality and bring it somewhere fantastic. This being the earlier. So I'm like, how do I make this make sense to me? I'm like, well, it's vaguely deep sea creature-ish. So what am I thinking of? Oh, hermit crabs or any sort of fish life that crawls into whatever viscera is around it for shelter. Or I started looking at a lot of reference photos of nautiluses, and for some reason, the way the nautilus shell curves reminds me of the way the backside of a skull kind of curves in a little bit. So I tried kind of mimicking that.
Mhm.
And then the whole idea of it kind of being growing inside its shell, that it starts forming fissures around whatever skull around it is. Like trying to make it make sense to my brain. And then I started thinking, okay, what kind of environment would this thing live in? And I had this very Dark Souls idea of like a war between giants, and then this whole battlefield's filled with the skeleton of these dead giants. And so these kind of variant of beholders would just hang around these boneyards and find all these loose skulls to nest in.
Yeah.
And so it came about pretty quickly. It was just figuring out composition, did a really quick, crappy idea of how I may want this to look. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it looks really good. Let me show you guys the final right here. Bada boom. He actually went with the first design. Soak it in, everybody. It looks really cool. I like how you place the blue right next to the eye. Everything else is warm, and then the blue really pops the eye out.
That's the thing. I'm confident when it comes to things like controlling tonal values and adding texture. Like, I wasn't really sure how to go about doing the final. Like, do I want to like maybe sit down and do some like sculpting in Blender or stuff like that? I'm like, I haven't done something a little bit more painterly in a while, so sat down with a shit ton of texture brushes and just kind of mimicked the dripping of paint. Just kind of went that direction, just for fun. I mean, I ended up finding a skull model, opening it up in Blender, and then just rendering that out just to give me some place light-wise with the skull that I can start with and build around. But yeah.
Yeah, no, it looks really, really cool. And now that you mentioned it, look at these paint textures. Like, that looks like real canvas. How did you get the drip stuff done?
Found some brushes. Not the best drip brushes, but I was able to find a few that kind of, at a distance, look good enough.
That's really cool.
And you added some noise?
Yeah, usually noise is good just to break up the digital. And the hard part with Photoshop and trying to do painting stuff is not making it look too slick, so a mixture of canvas pattern, like 4 to 8% noise usually breaks it up in a way where it's not too slick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the hard thing to get around with digital work. I mean, in both 2D and 3D digital work, it's always trying to break how clean it is, or even work with how clean it is, because nothing's perfect, and traditional medium really lends itself to that.
The thing, doing a lot of concept artwork with some game projects I'm with, you kind of need to be very meat potatoes with your paintings, like grayscale, hard round, flat round, soft brush for hard and soft edges, which is very clinical, but you kind of need that clarity for designers to model it out. So coming back to something where it's like, I'm just going to go crazy with the texture and have fun with it. It's kind of a nice return.
Yeah, and it looks like you had a lot of fun. You were playing around with a lot of like new stuff, and it shows.
It was one of those things where I just had to sneak in a couple hours of work between some other stuff I had to do this week when I can. It's not totally there, but
Yeah.
can't really think of much else to do with it at some point.
Yeah, no, I feel that. So you took like a sea creature design and then you brought them onto land.
Pretty much. I mean, at some point, it's like I kept the eye, and then the tentacles kind of became a snake, serpent tail kind of thing. I took liberties with it. I saw a couple of images of the Beholder, but I never got as deep into reading up the lore of it. I'm like, let me just take the basic concepts of tentacle or some sort of tentacle-like appendage, and then the eye thing. And then you could still call it a Beholder, I think. I hope.
I think you can.
I think you can, yeah.
It's a boneyard beholder is what I call it.
A bone holder.
A boneyard holder. Words come out mouth, make sentence.
No, really, really cool. stuff. What is your favorite thing about it? I mean, it looks like you have a lot of love in different places, but if you had to pick one, what are you most proud of doing?
Some of the highlights and just like I said, color. Like I'm not the best with color. I'm again more interested in things like lighting and texture, which I think kind of shows. And there's some like compositional stuff that maybe I could have done better, like the whole racks of bones. I could have probably figured it out a little better.
Yeah,
But honestly, the sky and just kind of, I found some good texture brushes that worked for me, which surprisingly was a pencil brush for some
yeah.
reason.
Cool, cool. So yeah, like I think that's one of the best things to take away from a painting. It's sometimes you're really enamored with something you did that was a really good job, and other times you're some of the better things to take away is the stuff that you can keep with you and use on future pieces. You know?
Yeah, if I need to do something like some sort of key art illustration, it's like, yeah, I can do this kind of looser painterly thing, which I like painting.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, good, now I have something I can use for other shit
yeah,
or something. I don't know.
or something.
I don't have a lot of good things to say about my work, except in the moment where I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm great. Yeah, I'm like, wait, no, wait. There's other people who are a little bit more figured out.
Oh, that's sad to hear. Yeah, I mean,
Not
comparing
really.
yourself, comparing yourself to other artists, I know it's inevitable, but you know, there's some school of thoughts that like say that
School of thoughts.
schools of thoughts, yes, all some people believe that you should really keep that in check because ultimately w- when we're buying art, we're buying it because you made it and nobody else can do it like you. That's
You know,
really
there's a good way to go about that and a bad way to go about that. The
yeah,
bad way is to look at other people's Twitter followers and like, man, this person's more popular than me. It's like, but then you look at I follow some amazing artists who have like 60 followers and they're making the most beautiful photo bashed rendered matte painting stuff.
yeah,
And it's like, no, there's no. It's just a popularity thing. Don't worry about it. Just do your own thing. And the good way to go about it is find someone whose work you respect and really like. And it's like, man, this art's so good. It makes me fucking angry. Ah, it's so good. Fuck you. Ah. And
yeah.
then you take that energy and you just sit down and get better.
I feel you. I feel
Yeah.
you. If there was anything you struggled with, what was it just the composition or was it?
Composition and color again. Like I went for a vaguely burnt sienna, yellow ochreish kind of thing, and then I lit a little bit of a color jitter on the brush, just to which is how I ended up with some of those cooler tones near the base. That on retrospect, I should have brought more, coolness to maybe the background skeletons, just because I think they're a little bit too forward. Finding some way to maybe compress
Yeah,
those values, push them
push it
back,
back.
cool
Yeah,
them down, let the beholder be the warmer thing. But that's stuff that you like remember. Oh, I did that last time. Let me not do that again.
yeah. No, I feel you. You live and you learn, and I'm sure the next ones will be a lot better. This one is great, so I think you did a good job, man. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I've seen your other work. You rarely do like proper illustrations, so thanks for doing this for us.
That was fun. Well, I'll do it again.
For sure. Well, yeah, look forward to it. Alrighty. So, who's next on the chopping block? I got.
I'd like to go.
Oh, you'd like to go?
Yeah.
Who said that? Okay, Randy. Randy. Okay,
Hmm.
okay. You volunteered. I'm down with that. You have your stuff on Facebook, right?
I messaged it to you. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, cool. Oh, wow. These are cool. Okay. I'm digging it. Let me open these up. Alrighty. How are you doing, Randy? You liking the show? You
Doing.
enjoying yourself so far?
Of course I do. Yeah. I always have fun on the show.
Nice. Well, we always have fun having you, buddy.
Thanks.
Let's open this up. Facebook image viewer sucks. Okay, here we go.
Does everybody else have like about a minute lag before the image actually shows up on their computer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
It does happen. It's an unfortunate technical difficulty that we just have to work around for with this episode, but it'll be fixed for the next one for sure. We'll be moving to Zoom. Everybody's using Zoom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But we digress. Randy Tironi drew a beholder made him out of baloney. Tell us about it, homie. What up?
Like I said, I didn't really know about the beholder as that it had that name and that it was in D&D and all that because I didn't do D&D when I was a kid. So I just took a fresh take and just went with it. I didn't do like a whole bunch of designs. I just wanted to have fun and go in and see what I could make from my imagination. I didn't. So I went into it without any real, uh, just no real preconceived notion of what it is. You know.
Yeah.
So I felt like maybe I had an advantage when doing that. I don't know because I didn't see it in the way that a lot of people who were really familiar with it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it shows. It's so unique. I mean, hair on a beholder too. That looks dope.
Yeah, the one thing I wanted to do with this guy was, there's something very grotesque about a big floating eyeball. And so I wanted to make it even more grotesque. Just disgusting and gross and have like a personality to it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my goal with this guy, was to give it that grotesque, gross, but also make it feel like maybe he's kind of
I would say gleefully malicious.
Oh, cute.
yeah,
Yeah.
Is that what you were going for?
yeah,
Okay.
like something from like something you from hell, you know? Like this is what would greet you when you first, appear in hell. This guy would be talking to you. You're like, you're gonna have a great time.
It has a little bit of a Doom vibe, like the old school Doom.
yeah,
Yeah.
Cacodemon.
Yeah, like the Kako Demon, yeah,
a little bit pain elemental.
Yeah,
or the
yeah,
Pain and Elemental, yeah.
yeah. No, that's cool. Hey,
It-
is that a penis?
No.
No, it looks cool, man.
Work for Geiger.
So, tell me, what part of the illustrate did this look significantly more rendered than your last piece that you made on the show? Tell us a little bit about that. You look like you pushed yourself.
Yeah, I'm trying to push myself on every episode. I'm more into monsters. Like monsters for some reason. They're like I just mold them like clay. Like they're a shape. You have a ball and you mold it, and you make it into something cool.
Yeah.
That's what I like about monsters. But when it comes to like people, characters and stuff, it's a bit more complex and hard because you gotta also get that cool aesthetic, but you also gotta like portray them with great anatomy.
Yeah.
So everybody knows what a person looks like, so you can't get it. You can get it wrong, but with a monster, there's so many more options, so a lot more freedom.
Yeah. No, and you exercise that freedom. I mean, I'm pretty sure I haven't seen the end of this tentacle before. Look at that. Like unique ideas all over the place.
Yep.
Really cool. If there was one thing that you wish you could have done better, what would it be?
Probably do what Matthias did, which was to get a lot more like sketches and designs made. Maybe that would have then like had more variety of sketches before I did this. But because I kind of started this kind of late, like I started this like Friday night,
Okay.
so we had 2 weeks, and I started on Friday night. So
Hey, I mean, you performed though. The time is
thanks.
secondary. Also, regarding your other statement, I'm pretty sure that's anybody who knows Matthias. That's the thing they didn't like the most. Ah, I should have approached it like him.
Really? Like with
No.
the drawings? Like I love drawings. Drawings are like if you saw the sketch part that showed all the process, I love
Yeah.
drawings like a lot.
Yeah.
So
No, the hatching, the drawing, it all works. I actually kind of wish I had the full pencil sketch to show everybody. It looks great.
Yeah,
I
it looks
think it's
really good.
thank you. I this guy kind of looks like a like a big jumble of private parts.
I
Hey,
guess that's what kind of adds to it. That's kind of what
Yeah.
the character's all about. It's a hellish character that's a little bit, a little bit on the sensitive, grotesque side, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
H.G.
That's
Geiger would approve.
yeah, that's what I was thinking about. I was like, what would H.G. Geiger do?
He would have been proud.
Yeah.
He would have been
How do I sneak this into there?
proud. Yeah, very sneaky for the forehead.
Yeah.
That's subtle.
Yeah, you probably can't zoom in all the way for the show.
Yeah. No, no, we can. I remember for the pyramid head I did, I just had full frontal. It was great.
Really? Oh.
Oh,
I like that he looks stinky and greasy.
Yeah, zoom in all the way. You'll see that there's a
I don't
lot
really-
there's a lot in there.
Oh, yeah, I can't zoom on Facebook, but it
Oh.
looks great. Actually, maybe I can. Let's give everybody a show.
I just noticed, and I like that this thing has it's hairy on the bottom, and I don't know if that's adding to the.
Oh no.
yeah, I love the little peach
Was
fuzz
that-
going on.
Oh,
was that intentional? Is this really?
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that left tentacle there.
This is truly,
Remember
This
when
is
I
really-
complimented you on the hair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I retract that.
This is truly the pea holder.
The pea holder.
Wait,
Please
is
throw it in the
okay?
people holder.
What's going on with the tentacles, with the lower tentacles though? Because I see I see some in the lower ones, especially the one to our
Oh
the
my
one
god.
the one on the yeah.
No, guys, get
I
your
see
mind
some-
out of the gutter,
Yeah, guys,
Okay.
get your
I'm so
butt
low.
right out of the gutter.
dude. Come on, that's a tear duct.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so I don't want to hear it. This is a
Yeah.
masterpiece. No, it looks
Okay.
great. I
No,
really-
no. Hey, dude, I'm not saying that like it's a bad thing. I think it's actually kind of amazing, and it only makes the creature more uncomfortable to look at. I think.
Don't you like the teeth in that sensitive area? That's great.
Yeah, yeah.
The
Yeah.
teeth.
No,
It's-
reminds
it's-
me of my ex-wife. No, I'm sorry. No.
Hey man, we guy artists, we're very pent up people. We have to put it somewhere.
Fair.
Yeah, we didn't call it a Brazilian wax. We call it a Brazilian carpet bombing.
In this case, it wouldn't be
Look.
Brazilian wax. It'd be a Brazilian root canal.
The
Yeah.
way I look
Oh.
at it is, you got to put your anatomy studies to use somehow. So
Exactly.
Fair. No,
No,
it's-
yeah, no. My comment on the kind of strange sexuality going in is not a bad thing. I actually like designs that incorporate that stuff because it's a very powerful way to make someone uncomfortable. And this design does that very well, and I think it's great. I like that the eyes on top have eyelashes. They're kind of like more cute than the other ones, and it's also kind of confusing, which I like.
Oh, look at the front eyeball.
Yeah, I just like monsters that are uncomfortable to look at, and this one really does the thing. It really does seem like a denizen of hell.
Yeah. No, yeah, totally.
I was promised hot succubus women, not this.
I bet it could trick you into thinking it was a hot succubus woman.
Oh, that's the worst.
I'd love it if we did a succubus.
This thing
That'd be
probably
great.
this is
Oh, jeez.
No
Yeah.
thanks. No thank you.
this thing.
I don't know. I
probably-
feel like
We could do it. No, next time, succubus. I'll force James. I'll twist his arm.
Oh god.
Yeah.
this thing is probably like
I'll go do some research.
the duke. This thing is probably the Archduke of like Coomer Hell, you know,
Coomer hell. Cool eternal.
Yeah.
because of all of the eyes. Like it makes me feel like people who are very voyeuristic about their sexual vices, you know, like constantly looking at porn on the internet and stuff. That's where I feel the people who give into that excess, this is the demon they become. Like
Is the Keiko demon of Cool
The
eternal.
archdemon of Sims.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I'm already liking the lore. I really do love the lore that we're building behind this character right now. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, we have a few more people to get through. All you lovely people want to give everybody
Yeah.
a fair shot. But really good stuff, Randy. Let's see your pretty face again.
Coomer.
Amir, can I go?
Yeah, sure. Well, let's do that.
Yay.
Alrighty.
Thank you guys.
Hey, no problem. Thank you. That was really fun. Let me see. You sent it on. Oh, my
Email.
email. Okay. Sorry, guys. That last one was awesome.
Yeah, that was really smart.
Monster contact. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. I'm making sure you got your thing going. Okay, here we go. Oh, these are really pretty. I'm gonna show you guys. Okay, so you're
So the sketches first, yeah.
Yeah. And oh my god. All right, we'll do this. These are the sketches. So underwater design, huh?
Yeah. So I wanted to take the idea of the beholder and turn it into the beheld, like something that you stare at and it draws you in. And I was kind of thinking of also like how eyeballs work in wildlife. So I was thinking maybe false eyes, like on moths and stuff. But then I thought about like the barrel eye fish, where it can look upwards through its head.
Yeah.
Like on the bottom, that's the bottom right picture. And so I was thinking, what about like a gelatinous orb with a single eyeball that can rotate 360 degrees, and then a bunch of little feelers, kind of like the
Oh, I
immortal
love that.
jellyfish on the bottom left.
Wow.
That's a jellyfish that can regenerate its cells when it's injured. So yeah, I was thinking like a unsettling gelatinous orb, but maybe that's got like bioluminescence that can draw you in. So if you want to show the final one.
Yeah, sure. Oh wow. That's so trippy. That's so cool. Does it like use all of the tentacles to kind
Yeah.
of like a
So
spider?
it's got one big orb in the middle with the eyeball that can go any
With an eyeball that can what?
where things are, so it can't be snuck up on.
Yeah.
Did I cut
Can you
out for a
repeat that?
second?
You dropped out for a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So it's got all these like hundreds of thousands of feelers thingies, kind of like a siphonophore that can sense its surroundings, so it doesn't have to always be looking at it. And they also have bioluminescence, so you can it puts on like a light show in the dark
Yeah.
and kind of puts its victims in a trance.
Cool.
That is such a great
Great.
concept.
Yeah, this is a cool concept.
Very cool.
You drew from life for this one. Like this feels like it could exist terrifyingly, and I hate it. Thanks.
You're welcome.
No, that's awesome. What do you think this guy would be fighting? Or is he just like one of those creatures that when you're down in the depths searching for treasure, you just happen upon it and tell stories if you survive?
So I don't know too much about the lore, but I heard something about a Underdark
Yes.
environment.
Yes, in D&D.
Am I cutting out again?
No, you're good. You're good.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, the Underdark is a Forgotten Realms place.
Yeah. So I was thinking like caves and stuff.
Okay.
So this thing would just float through strange, dark places, and probably feast on humans or small animals.
That's super cool. And I can imagine all the tentacles. They would even cover like the sides of the walls and stuff. So if you just stepped on it,
Yeah.
you would know. That's so cool. Who needs
This is
eyes?
supposed to be. It's supposed to be a cross-dimensional creature, right? It's supposed to be coming from another realm, right? So I'm imagining that could be sort of ocean-like, but to us, the glimpses that we get of it, maybe it's still actively able to, transport itself through that environment, but blent over hours. So I feel like you wouldn't have to go into a cave or into the water to find this. This would just be there off on the corner of your eye, and if you could just catch a proper glimpse, it would be, over in the corner.
Oh god, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Imagine being
Yeah.
stalked by one as well. Like, because these guys
I
are
love the
intelligent.
whole processor. Yeah.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, I really loved the whole just the progression through the sketches and the core ideas of the jellyfish and the fish that sees through the top of its head. I think it's a really interesting blend of the two things. The one that eats the other brought together into this very interesting creature.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's super cool. What's your own favorite thing about this?
My favorite is also the concept process, because I love creating things that are based off of the things that are equally crazy in real life.
Yeah.
Parts I struggled with are definitely probably rendering. I think gelatinous or see-through texture is a new thing for me. So last week was metal, this week it's Jello.
I was just about to say that it looks. It's a very simplified design, but I can tell that the rendering on the main eyeball is challenging because of the transparency. And I think you managed to pull that off really well. Like it's not just the concept that's good, but also the execution is pretty good because it does transmit that kind of. The eyeball makes it look very creepy, I think, because it does remind me of like underwater creatures.
Yeah, there's no confusion looking at this.
Yeah,
it's reading really well.
Yeah.
It's hard not to stare at, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all just kind of like, you totally did achieve. Yeah, you achieved a hypnotoad, the beholden.
I was thinking it makes a hypnotoad noise in my head the entire time while I was drawing it.
Yeah. Awesome stuff, Annika.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Cool.
Very good. Good job on your monster.
Thanks.
Alrighty, next person. Moving along. We got Crumb up in the Oh! Sorry. Okay.
Oh, you're probably looking at the more powerful version. Let's go with the standard.
Okay,
Let's go with
that's
the
what I'm showing
standards.
first because that's the best one. Okay. This is how beholders look in Mexico. The freeholder.
Oh, you're gonna do that one first?
That's the best one. It's the more powerful version.
Yeah, that's actually
Fucking what?
that's actually a joke that we had with.
Oh my god.
That's actually a joke we had. I had with my friends here. We started playing D&D back in. I guess in America it would be junior high. For Mexico, it's secondary school.
No, you're Canadian here. It's secondary here.
Oh, okay, cool. but we had a joke about we just started calling the beholder friholder because it's just a thing, and that joke turned into just like a whole uh, like that's how we usually call the beholder, and we just joke that it had a sombrero and it would shoot beams out of his eyes. It's okay. We're Mexican. We can be racist to ourselves.
It's not racist when it's genuine, coming from the heart, from your
Yeah,
heart.
and it's kind of like an affectionate name we have for the beholder,
Yeah.
because one of the things that I like about the beholder is that as a concept, it's evil, but it's not. It's kind of like a mix between Lovecraft and some character out of a Cohen film. They are very petty. Uh, they are very petty and xenophobic and full of prejudice.
Hmm.
Uh, and I like the idea of a creature that styles itself to be unknowable, because that's kind of like at least at least in the fantasy setting that I run, beholders are kind of, for all the power they have as people, they're kind of pathetic, most of them, because they are like extremely narcissistic to a fault,
Yeah.
uh, and they kind of style themselves to be unknowable because they kind of look like something Lovecraftian. So they see themselves as, oh, you could not even fathom uh, my motives, you filthy humanoid. But in reality, it's like, yeah, no, he's probably killing you because in his mind, maybe you're making fun of one of the shape of its scales, and that deeply offends him. It's like, oh, I bet he thinks that the scale is in the shape of a penis or something.
That is a really deep, deep design choice.
I kind of, I kind of, uh, I kind of like that idea that they're really pathetic. That they're very dangerous. They're extremely dangerous. But their weakness is the fact that they're just like these insecure pieces of shit.
Masters of projection here.
Yeah,
Ah. Yeah, let's show the serious design too here.
yeah.
I feel like you were jumping into some of those aspects too. Dang, these are so cool. You even came up with like the way that the eyes open
Damn.
up.
Yeah, I was. I didn't really think of changing the design a lot. I just wanted to add some things and maybe go a little bit deeper on how beholders kind of come to be. At least in the. I kind of took this as an opportunity to go deeper into beholders in the game setting that I have with my friends. The idea that they don't really have an eyelid, uh, so to speak. Like it has kind of like a chitinous shield that it puts that it closes in around his eyes, and that's the thing that initially uh, that's what it initially that shield, that eye shield, is actually
I
the
can see
same.
it.
Yeah, it's
It's these wings on the sides of his head. They close up.
Yeah, that's
They close
cool.
in.
yeah, and that's the thing. The thing is, those things are what in the life cycle below is literally what it is contained, kind of like a seed pod that's just floating, and it starts to sprout like a bean. Uh, yeah, it sprouts the tentacles outside, and actually the eyes don't have eyelids either. It's just like these like feelers that it has around them that it can use to kind of modulate into a cone or into a ray, and like the cone doesn't have a lot of range, but it has a lot of area of effect, when
Yeah.
you want to cook a bunch of foods that are close to you, and the ray is when you really want to get to someone far away, with pinpoint accuracy. Um,
Oh, cool. So the ray itself, it can turn into a cone, and then when you close the eyelid, it focuses the beam
Yeah,
That's so
yeah, and it has kind of like it has to be very precise because when it closes the ray, like it relies on all of the other eyes to kind of aim, but it's harder because it's not that one eye. Uh, so he has to be really sure what he's shooting at when he's doing that. Um,
uh,
yeah, I just wanted to think of little trade-offs that it has, you know,
yeah.
and
Yeah, because
and
this is
I
meant for your game.
yeah, and I kind of added a little bit of some like little mandibles on the side of his chin as well because I imagine uh, this thing still needs something to manipulate, like finer objects. So with the little mandibles, it can pick out things to eat
Oh, that's
and
cute as
chew.
hell.
Yeah. Again, I don't feel like I was being really creative with this. I just wanted to go deeper into an already existing design.
You think that you weren't creative
Uh,
with
Yeah.
the freeholder?
Freeholder.
You gave him a mustache and a sombrero. This is Mexican Mike Wazowski. That's an Atrium Blom. It's Mike Wazowski and his
it's,
girlfriend child.
Miguel Wazowski. Uh, yeah, the freeholder is just like he's a Mexican version and much more powerful. One of the rays is a fart ray when you eat a lot of beans.
That's perfect. That's perfect. I think we could leave it on that. I don't even want to ask
Yeah.
you, like, what's your worst part or what's your favorite? Just like, yeah, fart beam. Moving on.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
No, no, no. I'm kidding. What's your what's your Did you struggle at all? Let's humanize you a little bit because you can't just be a superhero this whole time.
Did what did I struggle with?
Wow. Look at him having a hard time figuring it out. This absolute god.
Yeah, rub it in. Rub it in.
I think the hardest time for me, this is actually something that I struggled with previous Beholder drawings that I've done, is that I never like how the eyes turn out because I always draw with a white sclera, and that really fucked with the design. It's not white, but you know, like a non-colored sclera,
Yeah, the
and
specular.
yeah, and that really throws the design off color-wise.
Hmm.
But then today yesterday I had like a big brain moment where I was like, why don't I just color the white of the eye in some other color and
Yeah, I like the turquoise solution. I think it works really well. That's something that actually was kind of, that's been bouncing around in my head. I really love the color of the eyes. Nice
yeah,
job.
thanks, man. And that's actually
Yeah, it's
something
really
that I
uncanny.
wrote. What?
I was just gonna say it's really uncanny and it fits the design of the beholder.
Thanks. And that's actually something that I got from Amir because Amir has been pushing me to experiment with colors. So I
Good.
took some of the lessons that you gave me to heart and was like, well, what if I just throw in green with some like warmer color and see what happens? Yeah, I think that was. I struggle also again.
Before you go on, I just want to say thank you. I really appreciate it, and I'm so glad that you got something out of that. I felt kind of bad when I gave you the the little class, I guess, because I was just like, I don't know if I'm explaining it right. And it's just awful, but I'm glad that you could put it to use, and it definitely did turn out really awesome.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Uh, and this is just in general. I feel like maybe it could have been. Maybe I could have changed the design a little bit more. Like I could have made it a little bit more unique because right now it just feels like a I guess like a deeper or it just feels like a version of the Beholder with a little bit more details, but it's not really anything.
Are you kidding? You got Doom influence. You got rattlesnakes. You got a lot of juice in this, man. I think you're a little hard on yourself, and I think everybody in this chat would agree.
Yeah, there are a lot of really cool ideas going on here.
Yeah, cool and unique. I mean,
So-
maybe you could have come out with more if you spent more time on it. That's always the case.
Yeah.
But I think you got to a lot of places with this. So yeah,
yeah.
good job.
Thanks a lot. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
It's really cool, man.
No problem. And
I like
honestly,
the ideas, variety.
yeah, the variety is great. Like really great. And honestly, when you asked to be on the show, I was like, oh my god, Crom's doing a beholder. Let's go, because this is your stuff. And I think part of your insecurity, and the reason why I say that, is because you're so familiar with this subject matter, and maybe to you, and I can see why to you, you might not feel like you pushed yourself as much as you could have, but to everybody else, dude, this shit's cool.
It's also it's why I think because you guys did the Predator, and it's why I turned it down. Remember, because you asked me to be there, and I was like, yeah, I don't think I can do that, man. Because
I was surprised because you love the Predator.
I love the Predator. The more I love a design, the harder it is for me to think, oh, I can do this differently. I can do this better because they're just really iconic. And I'm like, I don't think I can do this. But Beholders are a unique situation where the design itself, the design philosophy behind it is that every Beholder is different. So that helps a lot. And I just really like petty insecure monsters. I think they're great.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make this thing some justice.
You did it justice, and you know what? I'm really glad that you stepped out of your, because I mean, with the Predator, right? You said you felt insecure about your ability to do the design because you didn't think it could be improved on. And in the beginning of the show, I said that the Beholder's so iconic that it's so difficult to break from that and then do something that would be recognized at that and then still call it unique.
Yeah.
And I am so glad that you actually did join us for the show for something that you do care about. And even though you're a little bit hard on yourself for it, I think it turned out really, really well.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. So enough doom and gloom. What's your favorite part of the design?
My favorite part of the design is probably I kind of like the life cycle thing that I did. It's a small detail, but it's actually it's given me some ideas if I ever want to run a game where there's a beholder. And I was thinking a lot about how they come to be and how they fitting on the setting, and I was really enjoying working on that on those little dudes.
Baby beholder.
The baby
Yeah.
beholders.
Yeah, in theory they sound adorable, but I'm sure baby beholder is probably instantly dangerous the moment it starts moving around, and it's also a horrible living thing that hates you for being different.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, the beholder, the baby beholder, week 7. That one I think is really, really cool to me personally. I really like the expression.
Yeah, because beholders are creatures of dreams. They actually dream. The way they reproduce is they dream, and they have nightmares. And when they have a nightmare, after a while, the nightmare takes the form of a new beholder. They kind of just conjure other beholders into existence, and if they manage to find the beholder they created, they will try to kill it because they hate it.
Because it's born from a nightmare as well.
Not just that, but again, even a tiny variation in eye size or in scale shape is enough to make a beholder hate you.
Wow.
Like
Sounds like postpartum depression.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's also because they view themselves as the epitome of what is a
Yeah.
beholder.
So only the smartest and only the most cunning and the most vicious of them survive.
Wow.
Yeah, they're a totally horrifying thing. they're a horrifying life form in my imagination. They're just terrible.
No, totally, man. I have chills just from that. Like the hair on the back of my neck. That's so cool. Oh, I really wish I could just talk with you forever, but unfortunately I have to move on because the show
That's
and
that's,
the
that's
people can
fine.
do what
That's
they
fine.
want. but but anyway, really good
That was
stuff.
really cool backstory. Yeah, it was really interesting.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
Thanks, man.
just the lore
Enjoying
behind
this.
it and the integration into the design. Oh, and we have more. We have more. This is impossible. I don't know how James does it. Alrighty, let's move on. Hey, thanks, Arthur. I appreciate
Hey,
Yeah, go ahead.
it.
thanks, guys. I'm happy to be here.
Good job. Alrighty, let's move on. Alright,
Great
next
job, man. You're good.
up. Alrighty, Will.
Oh,
Will be hand.
okay. It's going to take a minute before I see what's up.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll start with the first image.
Okay.
The first
Get-
images of the.
Get your tissues ready.
No,
Time to get humbled.
no. Please, guys.
No?
I feel really sheepish about the whole thing right now
Aw.
because
Oh,
I just did not, I don't know.
Uh,
Like I said, everything was a bit of a clusterfuck recently. So I kind of I blew it over and over today and just stumbled through this.
sorry to
So,
hear that. And I'm sorry if me building you up caused any like stress or anything. But I just love your
Wow.
work. I really do.
Thank you. So this is the first one.
Yes.
And so I mean, all of these ones I would say really fall into kind of more of the, I don't even know, like just the initial stages of kind of exploring a design, kind of brainstorming a little bit and starting to think about it.
Yeah.
And then I would hope, my plan was actually with this one to do a virtual reality rendering. And I blew it. I didn't get it done. And so I had to fall back on the sketches. So here, I did not diverge from the basic beholder pattern that I remember from when I was a little baby beholder myself. So it's just going to be a ball with some tentacles coming out of the head. And that's what you have right here.
Okay. No, it looks good. We can move on. Oh wow.
Yeah, next one. So I'll have to wait for the next one.
Yeah, no, that looks really cool.
Ooh. Oh yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Yummy.
Oh, the
I don't-
fleshy.
Yeah.
Not meatball.
Little gummy baby.
Yeah, tell
Deep
us.
sea beholder.
That looks creepy.
Yeah, do you see it yet? Well,
No, not yet. I'm still waiting.
these radial patterns on it are really cool. Like,
Yeah.
I like the
Okay, so
the
yeah.
radial bumps around the eyes and how
Oh,
they
thank you.
proceed into the design. It's really cool.
It kind of feels to me that those fleshy points are kind of like if it were to lose one eye, that one would take its place, and
I like it.
I find that idea very creepy.
No, that's
Like a shark replacing its teeth, or an
Yeah,
anemone replacing a.
yeah,
Yeah, that works. Thanks. Yeah, so this is just me sort of. I did like the idea of taking this very, very basic creature concept and trying to find I don't know, the different interest in the different elements. So one of the things was in that original drawing, the very, very first drawing of the beholder, which is it's like a little doodle almost. Seeing it at this point, it's almost like it's kind of shocking to me that it ever had any appeal. Almost the original, I think it was Gary Gygax's drawing, maybe.
Oh, okay.
anyways, but yeah, but he had kind of. I think he did. I think he did the original drawing.
Yeah.
He had kind of a crackalure texture on the sphere itself, and so I was just starting to explore that a little bit with these nubs.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now. Let me pull it up for everybody to see.
Is it
Just
real simple line drawing, right?
yeah, right here, guys. This is the beholder he's talking about. The very first one. Damn, I didn't even think about showing that on the show. But now you
So
guys know.
that's always like what I have
Yeah.
had in my head,
Yeah.
but somehow it had a frightening, a fearsome power to me as a kid.
Yeah. Okay, cool. No, that's awesome.
All right.
We can
That
move
thing
on.
is horrifying.
Yeah, I think this. I like that the teeth.
Oh.
It almost looks like some of the teeth are like fallen off, or they're like, or that the gums are very irregular, so some teeth are.
Yeah, I never explored that myself, but yeah, I felt the same way. I mean, it's got something, doesn't it?
And that's also very. It makes it very unsettling. Like I imagine it just opening its mouth and maybe the teeth fall out as if they were like
Oh
retractable.
God.
Yeah, looking at this thing in the dark is not fun.
We are not gonna have good dreams tonight. Jeez, that is nightmarish.
Yeah.
We're getting it all out right now, I think.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
Shaking it out.
yeah. No,
He
this
looks
is really
like-
cool. Each one as they develop, it's so crazy to see
Yeah.
your
Oh
thought
God.
process.
Yeah.
Look,
That's amazing.
you guys. Okay, Will, I'm just gonna say right now.
Are you on the third one?
Yeah, I moved to the third one, and I just want to
I'm
say,
sorry.
man,
Okay.
you like, you sell yourself short because every time you come on, I'm just blown away, and
I'm unsettled.
each
Yeah.
one after the other. It's amazing.
Can I say?
Thank you.
I think this guy looks probably the most dangerous out of all the ones that we've seen so far.
Yeah.
Like he looks like he's gonna waste no time to get you. Like he has the look of, you know what he has? He has like shark eyes. You know, you ever see the great
Yeah.
white shark?
Like
You
a
look into the
dog's
darkness of the black eye, and it's like there's nothing there. There's no soul. There's no nothing. It just wants to eat you, right? It just it's that kind of fear that you see in that eye, and so that's why.
It kind of this thing kind of looks like it would sneak up on you. It looks like it's extremely silent.
Oh my God! Don't.
And that like because I kind of picture you looking at this thing. The highlights on the eye and on the central, like in the center of the body, make me feel like someone is just lighting a torch to it. They're just turning around, and it just sees this thing. It's like, how did this thing sneak up on you?
Oh
And you
God.
just open its maw without making a sound.
Oh God.
Yeah,
Whoa.
this is definitely. I think this is the most dangerous looking one.
Just
I think
you wait. We got like 8 more to get through. Will.
Oh wow!
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. No, these are
Oh.
awesome.
So, thank you so much. Well, so in that third drawing that I'm still looking at, I was beginning to explore the idea of, because again, I didn't do my research and I kind of forgot what the particulars of the beholder were.
Yeah.
But just in thinking of the design, what appealed to me about it and where I thought one direction it might go was those tentacles seemed like they might almost be hypnotic, and I was picturing this as something that could approach you directly, not necessarily sneak up on you, or it sneaks up on you, but you look at it and it it's just so baffling looking that you can't stop looking at it as it gets closer, and the tentacles would sort of be moving in these regular patterns in different directions. And also in this one, I was thinking less of like sharp teeth, and I was heading more towards manipulating something. I wasn't really sure yet, but you can go on to the number 4, which is kind of the same thing. I just was zooming in a bit and trying to think about a little bit further this idea of it being hypnotically like just fucking with you as it gets closer or whatever. But
Yeah.
It is moving away from the basic premise of the creature. I
And this
think.
is this is the thing some predators do, right? Like in real life, like
Yeah.
in the animal kingdom.
Yeah, they baffle you, and they enamor you with all the weird colors and shapes, and they get you. It's like
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some octopi that hunt like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was
just
thinking
love
with
how-
mine. I just didn't render it as well.
I just love how the intensity and the aggression just gets ramped up with each subsequent drawing.
Right.
It's like, oh man, I'm building to
and
something.
the idea gets more concise, and like when he was
Yeah.
talking about the whole like radial pattern, let me just go back to the other one just for a second. All of the patterns around the beholder, they make so much sense when you think about what he's supposed to be doing. He's sneaking up on you in plain sight, so all the bumps, the monster skin, what we call it, right? It's uniform and designed so smart. Okay, continue. Sorry, William. We keep holding you up.
Hey, it's not. Please, by all means. So,
We,
in the
we
next
keep,
ones,
we keep
What?
beholding you up.
We You're off the show. No, I'm
No.
joking.
The stream is over.
the
Day's ruined.
rim shot is implied.
I like how in this one the teeth pretty much disappear, almost like they're becoming also part of the tentacle circle. It's
Have we moved on to number 4,
Yes,
Yeah.
we're on number 4.
or I'm sorry, number 5? Are you still on the kind of the hypnotic one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Okay.
hypnotic.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The teeth have really, like, the idea of the teeth has completely given way to tentacular something or others.
Nice.
Yeah.
oh man, that is even more creepy. Because if it's not gonna use teeth to crush you, it means that this thing probably has some really aggressive gastric juice of some kind, or maybe the feelers themselves probably. I imagine it probably sucks you in with the feelers, and it you immediately start dissolving from just whatever secretion it's. Yeah, okay. This is really.
I like it.
Hot.
Yeah, no, I told you guys. He was trying to be humble.
Imagine seeing this thing and then finding itself in its mouth and just slowly and painfully dissolve.
Yeah, and you can't do anything. You're brainwashed.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
It's
So
and I know that that's not what the beholder does. It doesn't hypnotize you and then absorb you exactly. I know that that's completely off, track, but that's exactly where I was for this. That was what I came up with, the central eye and everything.
And it still plays. It kind of plays to the beholder name now twofold, because it's looking at you and you're also like beholding this thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think that probably all of that came into play. Instead of doing research, I just sort of riffed on all the obvious bits. Yeah. So on the next one, I went what I feel is almost like a weird little Muppet.
Oh. Okay. We'll give people time to catch up. This one's cool.
I'm not sure where you're at, so I'm just figuring on number 5.
Yeah, I moved on to the next one after the beholden splash image, where you're really close up at it, and now we're on.
Okay, right.
The
All right.
one, yeah.
So this one seems like a little, just a cute little Muppety.
Yeah, deadly cute.
I was, I guess here I was thinking more about I don't know, just a different kind of a mouth. Obviously, I don't know. It's almost, looking at it now, it resembles a baseball to me. It's coming apart, but it's cute. Okay, so next one
has the vibe of Tim Burton.
Caption.
Yeah, because I was figuring the mouth, the little concept there was just, instead of, it kept bothering me that I was trying to make a mouth that resembled your standard mammal, say, where you've got a jaw and a skull.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, well, is there some other? I never took it very far, but that's what was going on.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, moving on. Okay, we got a little silhouette sketch here.
Oh, okay. Yep, that's all that is.
Yeah.
Just a little cute little silhouette.
Okay.
Move on to the next one.
Oh, sorry. I can't contain myself. Okay, continue. Yeah, yeah.
Oh
So
my
right after
god.
the silhouette
So
sketch.
Oh,
so
boy.
this one, yeah, I
No.
had a little bit more fun with the mouth, even though I
Oh
didn't
my.
go in that multi-slit direction. I sort of I don't know. I'm not sure where I went with that, and I like the eye. I like had a little bit more fun with the
Yeah,
look of the eye.
tell me a little bit more about how the eye works. I mean, you're the guy to ask.
Oh boy, am I?
Yeah, you're
Yes,
the creature
please, Discovery
expert.
Channel.
Yeah.
Um,
Please
I
explain how this thing doesn't
don't
make
know
work.
if I don't know if I fleshed it out really.
Okay.
You know, I was at this point. Again, this is sort of early stages, and at different points, I was thinking, is the eye able to move around on its own, or is it sort of solid to the body? And I kind of settled on it being solid to the body
Yeah.
with this. But yeah, no, I don't have any story behind it, I'm afraid.
No, no, no. That's cool. It looks really cool. That explanation suffices. It's
Yeah.
like you took the idea of what happens in the cornea with the the pieces, I guess the strands of the eye like folding in into the pupil,
Mhm.
and then you just like made a whole eye out of it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so
This
cool.
kind of looks like an older version of it. Like this is an aging beholder.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna eat you.
All
Get
right.
off my lawn!
All right, here's the next one.
Okay, sure.
Yeah,
Oh my god, this is
Oh,
so
geez.
creepy.
This is
Jesus.
like a Chris O'Neill drawing.
okay.
Oh wow.
All right,
Some of
well,
these you can caption these. You just say on the top,
When you
Mondays.
realize you just shit your pants.
Alrighty. No, that's really cool. I like all the multiple pupils. That's hard to say. This is the next one after the
Yeah, you're right, right. Yeah, more exploration. I started in this one. I started getting a little bit more interested in the texture again, and I started sort of thinking about what if it was these weird, I don't know, sort of like maybe like an extreme close up of the skin on the back of your hand, where it's little triangles and then throws sort of little taut sinew over that. It was just sort of the inklings of that was going on here, and then very anemone kind of tentacles up there, and then with the mouth, I went with that kind of icky mouth that I feel like I've seen before. I can't remember where offhand, but just sort of pulled taut at the corners and just sort of icky. So yeah, and so then that's it. So then the next one, I was going to explore that texture a lot more, but I was rushing so much on these last two images
Okay.
to try to get something done for you guys.
Yeah, no, this next one looks really great. I can tell you have a lot more finish, a lot more clarity in design, a little bit less occlusion.
I like
Okay.
this one.
Yeah.
I like those tentacles, man. They look like kind of maggoty.
Yeah, I definitely was going with a thicker, more maggoty. Yeah, I don't know if I think my rushing was really I feel like the design was starting to suffer a bit. I went larger, which is why maybe in some ways it's a little bit more rendered, but I don't know if my design improved on this one. I sort of like the next shot though, which is the final shot and basically the same thing, but from a little bit different angle.
Wow. Yeah, this one looks really cool.
Wait.
Look at like
Oh, that's nice.
look at what he does with the white paint on the eye on the top right. That looks so sick.
I like it.
That's a joy of just sketching on toned paper. You can do stuff like that. You can figure out values.
Yeah.
Is that middle eye kind of like? It almost looks like it's like ethereal or something. Like maybe it's seeing in a different plane of existence or something.
Yeah, ethereal.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was just still trying to stay away from the idea of a typical eyeball with a pupil. Excuse me. And just go with more of a strange, translucent blob that had an eye-like appearance, but God knows what's really happening.
This is the more shark-like to me because of the shape of the mouth.
Right? Yeah. It definitely.
Deep seas xenomorph shark, baby.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But
No, this one's really good.
that's it.
Ta-da! No, these were
Yay.
all awesome. I mean, even this final shot, you brought you brought us, you took us through the journey between stuff that was more cyclical and centered, and now you have this at the very end of it, this dynamic array of tentacles with the eye, just a close-up shot. It's really awesome, man. Good stuff.
Thank you. Thanks.
So what's your favorite design out of everything you did? I know that you might feel like you're a little bit selling yourself short because you didn't get to do the VR sculpt of it. But
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. Actually, I feel like I guess my favorite is the first two pages. So that would be the. I do like the first couple of the first couple of designs there, and then the one where I was really trying to get into the hypnotic thing. I think that's probably the most interesting bit right there. So I guess I got to say that that's my favorite right there. Is the two shots of the one with the pattern, the waving patterns of tentacles around it. I feel like that's the most interesting of the group.
yeah, totally. Same here. Same here, by the way. Like the first four, I think I'm like panning through these, and it almost looked like it's changing shape as it's coming at you while it's getting more and more radial and terrifying.
Yeah, it's and I think it's just a product of my rushing the whole thing. Really, it's like I had a bit more time and I was feeling a little bit more relaxed when I did those first images, and then toward the end I had this it was just this desperate push that whatever. So yeah, so I'm happy that I got a couple good things in there.
Nice. So are we. So are we. It's awesome as always, man.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Is there anybody we didn't get to other than me? Am I really the last one?
It looks like.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I guess we're making okay time.
Don't start the show with the showstopper.
Yeah. Showstopper. No, good stuff, Will. I'm sorry for hyping you up. I can tell I'm making you uncomfortable, but I'm just like, it's hard to contain it.
Thanks, Amir. No, I'm definitely going to make a point of, I guess putting enough time into it so I don't feel so, so I don't feel like bad about it next time.
I feel you. Well,
you know what? In my defense, I thought every one of these that I've been aware of has landed on a Sunday, and I knew that it was going to be the first. I was thinking Sunday in June, so I thought I had a whole nother week left because I didn't realize it was a Monday. So the whole thing was me scrambling, going like, "Oh shit!" I thought I had a whole lot more time, so that was. I'm going to cut myself a little slack.
Yeah, dude. With quarantine, it's just the days, they blur together. You haven't seen the sun, and yeah, no, I feel that.
Well, I just didn't look at a calendar. I didn't realize that he changed it to Monday. So
yeah, I did. That's my fault. I was like, hey, give everybody an extra day, and then we just kept doing Monday. But anyway, All right, good stuff. Let me show you what I got. And I will hopefully wow you guys. It sucks going last. To go after all of that? Alrighty. Beholder illustration.
While we're waiting, Matthias, I wanted to say I really liked those little sketches you did before. I wasn't piping in with the earlier people because I wasn't exactly sure how we were doing this, but there was a lot of fun, like movement and design exploration in those, and I really enjoyed that.
Thanks a lot, man. Yeah, they were a lot of fun to work on. It's actually a bit of a new technique that I was going with here because I don't usually go as loose and rough as I did with those. I tend to be a little bit precious when I do sketches. I tend to be a little bit more thought out. So I'm glad you're pointing it out.
Yeah,
Because
no, I thought it worked out really nicely. I feel like everybody did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Agreed. Agreed.
there
Okay.
was there, there was a lot of variety.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. No.
That's what's nice.
Annie was actually telling me before the show she was concerned that everybody would kind of do something that was like hers because she was talking and she's like, oh, like sea creature stuff is so like, you know, uh, it's so obvious for this type of design, and I'm like, nah, man. Even if they take a sea creature route, it's gonna be like just all unique all the time for everybody, and it showed, didn't it?
Yeah, it totally did.
Yeah. Well, all right. Let's get to
Oh,
my.
whoops.
Oh yeah, no problem. Here we go. This is mine. These are just some starting sketches. Let me open up the chat. So, yeah, I started out with some ideation. I was looking at that beholster. It's like, honestly, you can't even do another one. Even if you tried, the idea is too cool, too unique. So I didn't take it in that direction. But I did know that I wanted to go sci-fi early on. Did one with multiple pupils, but it just kind of looked like crazy eyes. Did a sassy one, kind of gay, but like cool. You know, the vibe. I did. Oh, this was an okay idea. I would have liked to take this one further.
Mm.
With this design, I was trying to go for like
Oh wow.
like a cult thing where
Yeah.
where everybody just has their heads just to like to staticky TVs while
Yeah.
Ooh.
eyes like tentacles were like sprouting out of their heads and stuff. So the beholder used its psychic energy not just to influence the minds of people in the real world, but also influence the digital world. Like it found out how to do that or something. Brainwash the websites.
Yeah. I like this idea.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
It's timely.
Yeah, current, huh? And yeah, there was this design that I was thinking of.
Mm.
Maybe have like there's like a this was a more fantasy, like a fantasy
Yeah.
cult. Um, you as the
Loose-
adventurers would go into like a church or something, um, like an unholy beholder church, and just like find just all these cult worshippers and stuff. Yeah. So that was a cool idea. I ended up not going for it, but it would have been nice. And, I had a few more ideas in here towards the end, more playing with shape and theme. After I explored what I wanted to do, came up with some ideas. Some
Ideas.
Oh, these are good.
Some I want to kill
I saw
myself.
what you did there. I saw what you did there.
Yeah.
I really
Points.
I really like top left and bottom right. I think those are my favorite.
Thanks. Yeah, the bottom right kind of looks like it's almost trying to be yours a little bit. I should have gave him a sombrero.
It has a little bit of that armored look to
Could
it.
be holding a martini or something.
Yeah.
Top left corner's hella happy.
Yeah. Yeah. I struggled to make that work because when I was making this one on the right here, top right, this guy, I had the idea that I wanted the mouth to be like facing the floor because he would be over you. He's like big, and you don't want it to get like right above you because then it's just gonna come down and chomp you without turning. Like his mouth is just the entire bottom half of this sphere.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So then when I went to this one, I was like trying to bring that over, and then I thought, you know what? It would just be cooler if all the tentacles were under him as well. But I kind of made him look a little happy there. That's okay. Evil's fun. But yeah, so those were some initial designs. I ended up going with this top left one, and I wanted to bring him into a sci-fi environment. So here's that. Give me a while to load. We'll put it full screen so you guys can see it in its shining glory.
Hey.
Look at him go.
Oh,
Oh wow, look at him go.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
Nice.
that mouth is great.
I like his whale teeth.
Yeah.
How are you guys seeing this already?
The odd man out. Yeah, no, streams are weird, man.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I wanted to take it in how do I feel?
Cool.
Thanks. That means a lot coming from you, man. Um, but yeah, what can I say about this? I guess I can start off by saying I hate it. No.
That goes without saying.
No, it's cool. It's a good piece, I think. I think I really liked how I designed the way the eyeballs at the end of the tentacles would work.
Yeah.
Because they had like a flower petal arrangement
Yeah, those are
around.
fun.
Yeah.
Echoing what Hellraiser 2 a little bit there with Dr. Channard.
Oh, is that a thing?
That's a reference.
Well, it's a something.
Oh, let me see.
It's Hellraiser 2 is a cool movie. It's worth a look. They tried to do they had a lot of fun with that. They tried to do a lot of interesting things. They didn't always pull it off, but it's definitely something you want to take a look at. I didn't mean to distract from the
Oh no, you're good.
subject here.
I'm looking at this right now. This is a horror channel. Any more horror reference? Everybody loves
Yeah.
this.
Oh, Dr. Channard is a cool character. Definitely just go see the movie.
Yeah.
Well, go to your
The
TV.
pattern.
Will do. I'll watch Hellraiser 2 pronto. I've seen it, but I was too young to remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool. But
I like this sort of psychic energy that seems to be vibrating around him.
Yes, it came through.
Yeah.
I was so afraid that people wouldn't get it, cause they'd just be like, "What's all this garbage?" But hey, somebody got it. It's psychic energy. Yeah, he's constantly emanating and flying out of a psychic cloud that is also a byproduct of him being an interdimensional aberration.
He comes from the warp.
Yeah. So he constantly.
I can feel the warp overtaking me.
Yep.
Yeah. So his psychic abilities are both a consequence of him actually being able to physically, I guess, touch your psyche. And when you see him, he also exists halfway in between the planes of existence, and his psychic influence, or I guess interdimensional influence, is not just limited to the cloud itself. So you can see like on the left here, you see a little bit of distortion in the environment itself. And that's kind of something I wanted to get across with that idea. But yeah, other things that I was trying to do with this, the flower petal opening eyes.
Yeah.
I was inspired by our good and faithful design inspiration. If you ever in doubt, just reference Dick's, and I'm sure you got you'll come up with something interesting. You got the skin peeled back and all of that.
Yeah, I thought it's an interesting design because it does feel like they first come out of the. I like when they have layers like that
Hmm.
because it makes it feel more realistic and organic. Uh, um, I don't know because I just imagine that like the tentacles and rest when they're resting, they're probably just like lumps of meat dangling until it's time to shoot the ray.
Yeah,
Uh, I
Yeah,
also like how smooth the skin is. That's also very creepy.
how what the skin is?
Like the skin is very smooth, and that adds an element of. Yeah, Drew's right. It adds an element of hentai creepiness.
That's an
Hentai is
angle.
very creepy,
Yeah.
and the people who watch it. No, I'm joking. But thank you. I appreciate that.
That's what makes it so spicy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
the
like.
go ahead.
Oh, I'll say I like how this guy's got so much energy, and he really looks like he's trying. You know, he looks like he's doing his thing. He's focusing really hard, and yeah, I definitely got that dick reference there from me. So
Yeah.
it works. It works.
It's alarming.
No, thanks. I appreciate that, guys. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with the design. I was trying out a lot of new stuff, new visual techniques, as you can see, new concepting techniques, and I just yeah, wanted to just wrap them up in human skin, say F it to the monster flesh, and just make it dead looking. Hence the eye like rolled up and back, like somebody who just died. Um, just kind of
It's
lifeless up
booming.
there. So he's cooming, is that what you said? God
Mhm.
damn
Yeah.
it. He loves evil, okay?
Out of
He,
like he's times 8 or something.
yeah. Yeah, he loves D&D. He just, oh, I'm having fun with my friends.
That's not a laser beam.
What's it called? Yeah, no, I had a lot of fun with the piece. I think my least favorite thing about the entire piece, and I kind of beat myself up over it, because I didn't really want to spend the time to change it because I had other things to do. But it's just kind of the design of the tentacles and the space he inhabits in the picture is quite chaotic. And I had a design idea. Like, I wanted to do this in fourths. So, like, the head is like the first area of interest, and then you have an array um, of areas of interest. So, the first eyeball on the right, second eyeball on the bottom middle, and third eyeball on the left, just being three supporting factors and whatnot. But yeah, it just came out looking puzzle piecey. So I had a hard time designing those tentacles. Very abstract.
I think it worked pretty well. I think the chaos that you're describing works to a bit of an advantage here because it looks like it's a really chaotic, terrifying scene where, I mean,
Hey,
that seems to be, doing what it's supposed to be doing.
thanks. I appreciate that,
Hmm.
man. Yeah, cause you're not even supposed. It's supposed to be hard to look at him. You know, you want to avert
Yeah,
your gaze. You can't even think about him. He's just.
yeah, the lighting works very nicely too for this.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, because I imagine this thing moving, and I would definitely would not want to be with it in the same room.
it's not a big stretch to picture this in this being part of a scene in a film where everybody's just like, holy shit, like just something really startling and frenetic and confusing, but clearly threatening on every level. Yeah.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was supposed to, because it's a sci-fi thing. So obviously you got the lasers, but also the visual distortion, I think, works a lot better in a sci-fi setting than it would in a fantasy setting. I think, yeah, like those visual effects that you would see more on a screen, definitely work better for this type of character. So yeah, I had a lot of fun, and thanks for uh, actually picking up on what I was throwing down. Jeez, it means I did my job. Cool, cool. Well,
Nice.
thanks. So that's the end of
Wow,
it.
great job, everybody.
Yeah. No, I think.
Yeah,
I got you.
these were all pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Let me close this up. Let me see all your beautiful faces.
Tara's face.
Hey.
Do we have any European members in the chat?
Do we have any what in the chat?
European people?
European.
I know one New Zealander in there.
Not in the chat. I mean, like in the hangout.
In the hangout. Oh, in our hangout.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh yeah, we got one. We got one. Alex. Alex is European. He's a Romanian, our resident vampire.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, but okay, guys. Well, we're gonna wrap it up, and it was really great seeing everybody. Sorry I didn't get to every chat. I really wanted to do that this show, but as always, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. We're on all of it. Just search the name and you'll find it. And again, if you have questions hey, love you too, Drew. You keep protecting that same energy. No, sorry. Okay. Focus. If you want to see more, please like, comment, subscribe, join the Facebook group. You can vote for the next monster that is to be redesigned by all of us. Unfortunately, Man Bear Pig won this time around instead of Blanca. That's why I'm upset. It's not because Man Bear Pig isn't a great design and everybody would have, a lot of fun doing it. It's just Blanca from Street Fighter. Come on, guys. You dropped the ball on this one.
You guys are very fighting game centric.
Well, yeah, I am. You got a problem with that?
No. I'm more of a shooter guy, but I'm done with it.
You just stay in your shooter area. Anyway. No, but yeah, next time we're doing Man Bear Pig. And I think if you want to follow any of these awesome artists, like I said before, go into the description and you'll find a master list of everyone's contact info and their names. Again, before we go, I just want to do an awesome roll call. We got Matthias, we got Annika, we got Alexandru Popa, we got Arthur, we got Jacob, Randy, William, and Amir Alam. All right, you guys take it easy. Until next time. I hope you guys.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Later. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Cheers, you guys. That was great.
Well, as always, thank you for tuning in. But I, like the beholder, I've seen enough. And if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button for us and tune in to the next show. Duman out.